In a way, we have the appropriate weather for this note because it is spring and it is windy. Granted, it's not a spring storm, but we are as close as we can around here. We don't have that many storms. The title of the work, the play I'm referring to now, is Spring Storm by Tennessee Williams. I wasn't very favorable to this work as I started it, but that was my mistake, a grave failure, because if I failed to notice in the first few scenes the accomplishment, the value of this play, gradually I became very interested and then excited, and I love it in conclusion. And so much so that I went through the end and then returned and listened again uh, for some parts to see what I missed with the beginning. It looked like it's the characters are depressing, I mean, with issues and haunted. Plus, I learned from the introduction that it's autobiographical, that the sister of Tennessee Williams was diagnosed with what was called then, let me see, I have it here, dementia precox or something like that. I don't even have it in writing too well. It's true, I can't read my own writing. And today it would be schizophrenia, and I thought, I don't like this. I mean, I know about the disease, and it's not nice what happens to people when they have that. Anyway, the main characters are Arthur, Heavenly, and the other two involved mostly I see as supporting, not minor characters really, but less important personages. And one is Richard Miles, Dick Miles, the Miles boy, as he's also called, and then Hertha. So Arthur has an interesting obsession. I'm not sure, even if he calls it love, I'm not sure if that's the right definition. I don't know how to call it. And indeed, he doesn't, in his evolution, he doesn't know it itself, I'm guessing. Himself, I said he'd say itself. That's a beautiful song. That's a wonderful bird right here. You don't see it, but it's singing for all of us. Maybe I better shut up and let her do the recording. Anyway, he in the first place he hated this girl because she laughed at him, and she wasn't the only one. He is an intellectual. He was pushed around, including by other people, including Dick, the one Heavenly thinks she loves. So Heavenly is getting involved. She has a sort of an affair. Spargi urechile, măgarule. He will exploit my ears one of these days. Um, Plus, my brain that stops functioning when he's doing this in it. What I was saying? What do I do? What do I do here? Who's? I'm trying to joke. So I was talking about this infatuation, maybe of Heavenly. We're talking Le Rouge et Le Noir, yes, with the Miles boy. She thinks she loves him. She wants at one point to run away with him, but on account of further developments, no spoiler alert, I will not say what happens later in the play. I have my doubts, referring to that Thomas Mann character who has established such a high standard in my mind, and I'm guessing others who read the short story. Love exists only in books, because love, real love, means forever. And not just, I mean, I love you, but then someone else comes around, pushes me a little, and so I fall in his lap, or her lap, depending on sexual orientation, whatever. And so it's strange. And the themes are rich versus poor. The family is against the relationship with the Miles boy because he's poor, and they're from a more important family. At one point, he does say, "Run away with me." Interestingly, after she had just been proposed by Arthur, but she says, "What on a what's that called? I forgot. A levy, a government project," and she heard that it's low life, and the men working there have colored women in their rooms. So you have the racism of the age, and of course you have also the new against the poor, and you have the naive. Arthur is an intellectual, but he's not. He doesn't know how to make love. That's another thing which changed with the age, and shows the period. Making love means well, having sex or having a more emotional sex, whatever. I should not get into the sideline. And then I'm thinking it just meant being seductive, not in any way having sexual intercourse, but just the foreplay. I'm just guessing. And indeed, there is there are some sad things happening. One of them tragic. A woman gets in love again with with um, with Arthur. I'm thinking not to say who. And with this, I can say about her what happens to her. She dies. But then you don't know who. I didn't spoil it for you. There's metaphysical thought. What is that? Inconsequential. There is this gap, which I thought huge at moments, between Arthur and Heavenly, who wants to have revenge, wants to pay back, but he is attracted to her. There's a complex. He even mentions this. Strindberg, Heavenly had never heard about that, of course, about him, the playwright, calls it love hated. So it's a love hate relationship. It's a combination even within Arthur, but he's so much more intellectual. I mean, she seems to be naive, innocent, to the point of reminding one of Oscar Wilde. Innocence is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. Yeah, right, but to be so silly and not know anything doesn't sound appealing to me. The storm, the spring storm. I was thinking that the many beautiful lines, dialogue. Perhaps in the written note, which I will post on Goodreads, I should include some quotes if I find them. Heavenly asks her daddy at one point, "Well, why do people torture each other even when they're in love?" Well, I guess it's like the spring storms. They're natural. They even kill people. They bust through levees and they cause flooding. But it's a process of changing. They're natural. And then they also talk about at one point about Eros, who is the biggest of them all. He has the thunderbolts after all. Hasn't he? Excellent, excellent work.